So yes, hello,
Yes,
hello,
hello.
hello. Welcome to Kingdom Connect, the youth
Youth
edition
edition
of
Kingdom
Kingdom
Talk.
Talk. So yes, you're with Coach Kai.
And you're with Coach Jed.
Yes, and today we will be your host for today's edition of
Yes.
Kingdom Connect. So yes, that was Endless Praise by Planet Shakers. Yes.
That song kept me dancing.
Yeah. We're grooving here. Yes, so okay. So is there anything you'd like to greet, Coach Jed?
Of course, I would like to greet the listeners, diba? So
Yes.
because without them, we wouldn't be here because we are blessed and we are trying to pursue and spread the messages of our Lord.
Yes.
We are trying to spread His glory, and we are very, very thankful for that.
Yes, and of course, we would like to greet
Mhm.
those people who are still continue na susuporta sa programa
Yes,
to, not
amen.
just to
Thank
Kingdom
you.
Connect but also to
Mhm.
Kingdom Talk.
Yes, of course.
Thank you for supporting us. Thank
Yes.
you at patuloy pa rin kayo nakikinig. I'm sure na your time won't be wasted every minute na ginugugol nyo dito
Yes,
sa
of course.
programang to. Yes, kasi in every episode may learning doon. Yes.
Amen, of course.
Yes, like food for the soul. Yes, may empower tayo, may encourage tayo. Minsan kasi yung mga messages dito sa Kingdom Talk and Kingdom Connect is mga tips on how to live life here on earth, or
Yes.
how to live or how to cope up with a particular situation or a particular challenge, di ba?
Yes.
So yes, parang kaya in every episode wala talagang tayo na mawi-waste kasi yung kada episode is full of learnings. Yes. So, let's not waste more time. Let us introduce our guest for today.
Wow, we have a
Yes,
guest.
Coach Jed.
So, Dr. Keanna Ralph is a business and lifestyle consultant specializing in helping individuals expand their business from local to global while staying in
Wow.
alignment with their purpose and passion. Wow. Oh, in addition to being an international consultant, Dr. Keanna is also the author of the book entitled Detours to Destiny.
Wow.
Wow. When the detour became the path, she enjoys seeing people live and lead authentic lives and doing so unapologetically. Wow. She recently launched her own podcast entitled Live Out Loud with Dr. K on Spotify, which expands on this theme. Wow.
Wow.
Grabe talaga yung guest natin. So,
Yes.
very world-class talaga if you per se.
Yes.
So, why don't we introduce?
Wag na tayong mag-waste ng time.
Yes,
Let
we
us
are very
proceed to the
excited.
main course of this episode of
Mhm.
Kingdom Connect. So, our guest for today is Dr. Keanna Ralph. Yes.
Yes.
Andito na siya. Wait. Yes. Hello, Dr. Keanna
Hello.
Ralph.
Hello, everyone. So
Yes.
I am so excited. My name is Dr. Keanna Ralph, and
Yes.
I am excited to be here, back on the show today. It's just a blessing to be able to be part of the Kingdom work that first year. Thank you for inviting me to
Yes.
return
It's an
and
honor too.
be able to share this very timely message as we
Yes.
embark on this new
course.
year and new decade. So just a little bit about myself. I am a business consultant. I'm actually a hybrid between a consultant and coach, and I work with small businesses, helping them to go from local to global, helping them
Wow.
essentially
Wow.
to
Yes.
expand
Wow.
into international
Great.
markets and now brands so that they could reach a larger audience and ultimately impact the kingdom, right? Because that's what
Yes,
it's all
of
about.
course.
And so today, I actually want to talk about something that I believe is important to us all,
Yes.
whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a business professional, whether you are a housewife or whatever you play. I believe that this message is going to be beneficial to you because it's focusing on getting clear vision going in 2020. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how we can get laser focused vision going into 2020. And I believe that is very, very important for this day and age. I believe 2020 is going to be a big year.
Yes.
I researched the number 20, and one thing that I found interesting about it is that it is symbolic of completion, right? And
Yes.
so it went on to talk about, excuse me, it went on to talk about the story of Jacob,
Wow.
and about how he had to wait 20 years in order to be able to have his wives and his what was owed to him released to him after that time from Laban. And it's interesting because it's again that whole story shows how we may go through 20 years or so waiting then to receive the reward. And I believe that this is the year where we are positioned to receive the reward, to receive the blessing, receive the promises that God has truly given and made to us. But again, just like we saw with the story of Abraham, we have to be able to have the vision for it, right? When God spoke to Abraham and he told him he was going to be a father of nations, one of the things that he did was he asked Abraham to look at the stars and look at how the stars were numbered so that he could get a vision of his future, so that he could see this right there in front and center. And I believe that is what helped Abraham to be able to push towards that goal and to be able to trust the process even when things didn't look right, because he had that vision. He had the vision of the future that God gave us. And so our vision is very, very critical. And so for the next 20 or so minutes, I just want to walk through a couple steps that I believe will be helpful to you all as you go about establishing a clear, concrete vision going into 2020. All right. So first, I would say the starting place is determining what you don't want, right?
Yes,
Sometimes, in order to know what we want in life, we first have to understand what we don't want. Nothing causes a person to change quicker than pain. And I want you to take a moment to take a look back at I want you to take a moment to take a look back at 2019 and think about the painful situations, and even beyond, before 2019, the years prior to that. I want you to think about all this that occurred that you just weren't happy about, that did not sit well with you. And I want you to have a moment just being able to experience that feeling and knowing that discomfort, because that discomfort that pushes us to want to do something different. And so with that understanding of what you don't want, then that will essentially make you want to make the necessary changes so that you can get what you do want. And that's pivotal. So I think about this story as a story about a village, Indian village, and they were fighting. They were at enemies, and during their battle, one of the chiefs yelled out to their enemy, and he said to them, it was almost like, in a way, it was like almost like giving a kind of like cursing him in a sense, or cursing them in a sense. And he said to them, I wish that you be in the same place next year that you are now. Right? And that was like presented almost as a curse, because it's like, oh gosh, who wants to be in the same place a year from now that they are currently in, right? Because essentially what that means is that a person is stagnant. And anything that is stagnant, think about water, water that is still not moving like in a pond, it becomes to get stale. And over time, things begin to die in certain bodies of water that doesn't have that fresh movement. Certain things can't thrive there and live there. And so it's so important to constantly be progressing and moving. And what is going to allow you to do that is a clear vision. that's number one. Number two, I now want you to identify, embrace your authentic core self.
Yes.
So it's nothing worse than coming up and grabbing a hold of a vision that is not true to you. You know, there are stories of people who, you know, and I know some of them personally who may have gone to college and spent years and tens of thousands of dollars studying something that they weren't really interested in, simply because it was what their parents wanted them to do, or it was what they felt like society wanted them to do. It was popular, and so they felt like they had to do that, even though it wasn't authentic to who they were. And so, in the end, they wasted money and time.
That's right.
The most important things that a person can do for themselves is, before they start off in course, that they first identify and embrace who they are authentically. They need to know and understand that they are unique, that you are unique, that God has given you a specific purpose, that God places a specific mandate on your life that only you can fulfill. And then when you move from that understanding, it's easier to come up with concrete vision. Another way to put it is that when you know who you are, it's also then easier to know what you want, right? They kind of go hand in hand. Right? So number three, I want you to consider your long-term first. And I believe now that we're in this, we're heading into an entirely new decade now, this is a perfect time to review your long-term goals and to get a bigger vision, right, of where you see yourself and where you would desire to see yourself in the next 10 years. There's this great exercise that I would recommend that anyone does. And basically, what you do is you envision yourself 10 years now, and you write out like almost like a journal entry of what you accomplished in the prior 10 years. And so, you know, basically, I don't know, it could be, in the past 10 years, I've gotten married, had children, purchased a new home, started a business, whatever your dreams, aspirations are, then you basically speak from that place and you create that storyline, because now again it gives you something to look forward to. And that is key, very key. And so it's essentially a way that you're able to work backwards, which is why long-term planning, because it allows you to be able to see things from a bird's eye view and then work backwards out bite-sized actionable steps that you can take to get there. So it's a combination now of short-term and long-term, which is really important to be effective and moving forward in your goals. All right, so number four is, as you are doing the prior step, as you're getting an idea of your short-term and your long-term goals and your vision, I want you to make sure that vision is compelling, right? So Les Brown, he's, for anyone that doesn't know, he's a really famous motivational speaker. And one of the things that he has said is that when you have a strong enough why, the what doesn't matter, right? You know, what comes your way, you're still going to push forward because your why is strong enough. And that's why it's so important to have a compelling vision, because regardless of what in life, you're going to constantly be moving forward and being pulled forward. I heard Tony Robbins, another speaker, say that, you know, when you have a strong, compelling vision, it pulls you, right? And you know, and that's what you want. You want something that is going to constantly pull on you, where you feel like you are compelled to move forward on this thing, that you think about it constantly, day in and day night, and day in and day and night. You are constantly thinking about this vision in your mind, and you're wanting to move towards it because you understand how important it is to you, and many times also your family. Number 5, once you figure all this out, you want to write the vision down and make it plain, right? So Habakkuk 2:2, many of us may know that scripture, where God tells His children, make it plain. There's something powerful about writing down our thoughts and putting pen to paper. Not only does it to get ingrained into our mind, but now we have something tangible that we can look at and be able to, review on a daily basis, which I do recommend, that you review on a daily basis so that you can make sure that it's ever before you and that you're constantly rewiring your mind or renewing your mind, right? The Bible says that faith comes by hearing and hearing the word, right? So the more you are now reviewing and speaking and taking time to digest the vision, the more it becomes real to you and the more you begin to manifest it, right? And so that part is also very, very key. Number 6 is you want to remove any limiting beliefs. Any limiting beliefs. And so, one of the things that I realized in 2020, I had a series of challenges that I was confronted with that caused me to do a lot of deep soul searching, if you will. And I came to a realization that there were a lot of limiting beliefs that I currently held that was holding me back. Other people may call limiting beliefs strongholds or things that mental models or patterns of thinking in your mind that has now directed you towards doing and acting and behaving in a certain way. And so I'll give you a prime example. So this past year, I had the awesome pleasure of finishing out my doctorate degree, which was very, very challenging. So a couple of months before my dissertation was due, I had a major computer crash where I lost my work. I lost my dissertation, my research, and I had to start almost from scratch and start rebuilding. And it's a very traumatic experience. And I realized that to a degree, I was operating in some self-sabotage because I not only, again, the negative circumstances had happened with my computer, but on top of that, I was having severe writer's block or paralysis of analysis. And, I tie it into what is often called the imposter syndrome, which affects a lot of people, especially, those who are entrepreneurs or pursuing school. People, you have a mindset where you just believe that you aren't good enough to be able to hold a certain title. For me, at that point in time, I didn't feel like I was good enough to her. And part of why it was I came from a family where there were no other doctors in my family. In fact, I was the first in an entire bloodline to get any college degree. So I was the first to get my bachelor's, first to get my, and then finally the first to get my doctorate. And that was the most challenging because, again, as you're doing these things, you're not only breaking generational curses, but because, we pick up patterns of thinking over time. For me, I was also overcoming limiting beliefs. And so I had to be very intentional about renewing my mind and basically convincing myself and reaffirming to myself that I had what it took to be a doctor, that I was a doctor. Even before I became officially a doctor, I kept affirming and declaring, I am a doctor. And so, that was part of the process that I used to that limiting belief. And it was necessary because even though I may have had a vision of becoming a doctor, the limiting belief that I held on to at that time was holding me back from being able to accomplish it. And so that's why taking time to deal with, to reveal some of the limiting beliefs in your life is so critical to being able to make sure that you have a good, clear vision to go after.
Yes.
All right. So next, want to have accountability.
Wow.
Accountability, it's so huge. We live in this day and age where we have a lot of lone rangers, and I kind of attribute social media in part to, because social media has taken away some of the more relationship building side of life, because now everything is done through the computer. We keep in contact through the computer. Everything is technology based, where it's very seldom now that people take the time to have those face-to-face encounters. And so we often end up in our own little individual silos, and sometimes detached from the and that's not how God had designed it. God designed us to be in community, and He did that for a reason. And I believe those reasons is because there's one, as the Bible says, there's safety in a multitude of counsel, right? There's safety in numbers. There's safety, when we are together, as a collective body. There's safety in that, and some of that safety comes in the accountability that we are able to get in the community. And so, in order to be able to have and go after your vision, you want to make sure that you have accountability. And I would recommend that you have someone in your life, or maybe a couple of people. Maybe I'm a big fan of accountability partners. You want to establish an accountability partner that you can share your goals with. So, of course, you don't want to, as the Bible says, throw your pearl among swine. But you want to make sure that it's someone that you trust, someone that you feel comfortable sharing with, and that you know that they will honor what you shared, and that you also know that they will be accountable to what you share.
Yes.
And I find that that's so important. So as a coach, that's one of the things that I do for my clients. I provide accountability, and one of the quotes that I often like to use during our initial session is it's an old African proverb, and it said, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with someone else.
Amen.
And and I believe a lot of that has to do with the accountability that comes in community. So that too is huge. Next, the next I want to talk about the art of visualization, right? And so visualization is so important. I kind of touched on it a little bit with the story of Abraham when God told him to look at the stars.
Yes.
And again, that repetition is key. So whenever you can take your vision and you can take it a step further to now visualize it, right? So and a great way to do this oftentimes is through a vision board. This is the time of year where many people are doing vision boards. In fact, I probably do a new one now too, where you take the different pictures that symbolize what you want and words that summarize your goals, and you put them on a poster board, and you hang it up somewhere in your house. For me, I have my board right in front of my TV in my bedroom, because I get to see it every day when I wake up. And I think it's something powerful in that, like being able to look at your vision as the first thing that you see when you wake up. I think that's very powerful. And even if you don't have a vision board, one of the exercises that I like to do sometimes when I wake up is to take a moment to visualize my future and think about those things that I desire, and spend some time just reflecting on it.
That's right.
And sometimes it's the day. There's something about intentionality, right? So sometimes it's a matter of setting your intentions for the day and visualizing how you see your day going, the different things that you wish, and the different things, the different people maybe that you want to meet. Everyone, it would look different for everyone, basically. But the key is to get a picture, a visual picture that you can hold on to. And one of the things that I've learned too, from of the different researchers, is that they say that when you visualize, you want to do your best to also get in the feeling of it, right? You want to kind of not just think about it, but you want to feel it, right? So let's say, my vision, let's say one of your goals for 2020 is to visit a new country. It's a good country. Let's say South Africa. That's actually one of my that's on my list for one of the places I want to visit. So an exercise that I could do is to visualize seeing myself in a safari and getting a picture of the animals roaming around me, and then embracing that feeling and being in that moment to almost as if I am there, like present. Right? It's something powerful about that. I definitely encourage people to just make sure that you take whatever process you use, that you make sure that you incorporate visualization and all throughout that process. Right. And so next, you want to make sure you cover everything in prayer. Everything in prayer. I can't emphasize that enough, because the Bible makes it clear that when you commit your plans to the Lord, they will succeed. And able to take your vision and submit it to God and give it to Him, now it releases the pressure off of you. And so that you can, not to say you don't put in the work. No. We are always responsible for making sure that we put in the work. But I've heard people say it this way. And essentially, you want to pray as if everything depends on God, but work as if everything depends on you. And and that's the best way to go about it. And so that means that you want to make sure that your vision is covered in prayer, that you are trusting God with it and believing that God will bring it to pass as you put in the necessary work. Right? And then last but not least, you want to take time as you do begin to check off your goals, and as you see yourself being able to do your vision and see some of those accomplishments come to pass, you want to celebrate and exercise gratitude. I find that gratitude, it's so important. I think it was Oprah who said, the more gratitude, then the more grateful you are, the more things will come into your life for you to be grateful for, right? And so you want to make sure that you're always in an attitude of gratitude, because when you are, then essentially you're attracting good things your way. You're attracting, that vision is coming to pass. This story that I heard one time when I was at church, and it was a story of, it was comparing our relationship with God. And it was saying basically, imagine a father taking his son to the amusement park. And the son just had an amazing time. They went on all the rides, and it was clear that he was enjoying the entire experience. But it wasn't as impactful and although the dad could see he was enjoying it, it was something about the very moment at the end of the night where the little boy turned to his father and he said, "Dad, thank you. I had a great time." And for those parents out there, know what it feels like for your child to thank you and take a moment to show that they appreciate what you've done for them. Something like that can melt your heart. And just think about how much more for God, for our Father, how much it brings Him to know that we appreciate and we're grateful for the blessings that He brings our way. And I believe that the more we do, the more blessings we will receive.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
And so I hope that everyone was blessed from
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
the different
Wow.
Yes.
tips shared
That's a
this
great
evening. And my encouragement is that whatever vision that you have, that you take a hold of it and you run with it. That you not only follow these steps, but you do it in a way where you believe and you are fully convinced that you cannot fail, that the victory is yours, right?
Amen.
The Bible says that in all things God calls us to triumph, right? He wants us to succeed. And it's just something powerful knowing that the God of the universe is on your side. And you're not going after this vision alone. Like you're not by yourself in this, but God is with you. And if God is with you, what can come against you? Because God plus you is the majority.
Amen.
And so that's a very awesome feeling to have. And it's important to be able to hold on to that as you are getting clear and focused on your vision for 2020.
Yes. Wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
very much. Wow.
Yes.
So that was Dr. Keanna L. Rolfe. Wow.
Yes, like what I
Indeed.
said earlier, sa program na ito, nagbibigay sila ng tips on how to cope up with something.
Thank you for that, Dr.
Right now,
Keanna.
binigyan tayo ng tips ni Dr. Keanna Rolfe on how to move forward.
Yes,
how
amen.
to have a progressive life.
Indeed, it
diba?
was a decade of completion.
Yes. And of course, hindi ko makakalimutan yung sinabi niya na in order to move forward, you must ignore those limited or
Yes.
to change those limiting ideas or limiting beliefs,
Yes,
diba?
and indeed,
Because
before-
these beliefs are hindering us, such as this fear. Kala natin, hindi natin kaya, but in fact, yung totoo talaga, we can. Kasi di ba sabi nga ni Lord na He will not give us something that we can't cope with.
Yes.
Bibigay niya sa atin yung kaya natin ma-cope.
Yes, and of course, before you go there, there was one thing that she said that you have to determine what you don't like.
Yes, of course.
Wow. Because if you can't determine what you don't like, you cannot
Determine what you like.
let's say you cannot proceed to your plan, diba?
Yes.
It will hinder you from your process, diba?
Yes, and very siya, parang ma-organize siya kasi you
Yes.
have to plan talaga yung na-visual mo,
Kasi
diba?
parang I get the gist of what she is saying. I think she is indirectly saying that if you don't plan, then you plan to fail. Parang
Yes,
ganon, di ba?
That's right. Well, very timely and
Yes,
very
of course. That's what she said.
yes, a good message to start this 2020.
Amen.
Yes.
Wow.
I was really blessed about what he shared.
And
The tips were very useful.
Amen, of course. And sana we hope that the viewers
I'm sure that
yes,
they have
that they will be comprehending that very timely, precious message from
yes.
our guest, di ba?
Yes. So again, we would like to thank our program partners.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, ICMA US, headed by Dr. Nancy Bukalan, to
Yes.
ICMA Philippines, headed by Coach Rudanter Du, to Kingdom Some Trading, headed and owned and managed by Ambassador Jabu Abuhan, to Ma'am Ella Silva, to Coach Alva Cornelio, and of course, to the King.
Amen,
Yes.
of course. We shouldn't forget him, the source of everything we have.
Yes, again.
Yes.
So, if gusto niyo pong manood ulit ng programa namin, you can search the account of Ariel Arce.
Yes.
So, Coach Ariel Arce. So,
Yes.
just search it in Facebook. You can
Yes.
see there in his wall.
And of course,
maraming mga episodes ng Kingdom Talk and Kingdom Connect.
And of
And
course,
of course,
YouTube.
YouTube.
Sa
We have a
YouTube.
channel there.
Uh-huh.
So, just look for Kingdom Talk. Yes.
Amen. Philippines.
Yes. So again, we would like to thank everyone who who were with us along the episode.
Yes, and who continually supports us. Thank you very much. More power and God bless.
Yes. I pray that God continue to bless your lives. Yes.
Amen.
Okay. So again, I am your Coach Kai.
And I'm your Coach Jed.
And right now, we will be bidding our temporary goodbye to you all. Thank you and God bless. Kingdom favor to you